The KATSEYE hate train has been kinda crazy lately. I'm not saying that these girls should be exempt from proper criticism, but it seems like lately, everyone just wants to make it known just how much they hate this group, and is continuously nitpicking every little thing they say, do, or interact with, making up false allegations, and even going as far as making AI images to spread their false agenda. It has really gotten out of hand, but for right now, I want to specifically talk about K-pop stans and K-pop culture. As we all know, KATSEYE is not a K-pop group. The best way to describe them in my eyes is as a K-pop adjacent group. They exist alongside K-pop, not within it. Them being under hybe and having the whole Dream Academy survival show and promoting in K-pop spaces has made their fandom exist of primarily K-pop fans. The majority of icons are K-pop fans, or have previously been K-pop fans, and the majority of people that interact in these conversations about KATSEYE, even if they aren't necessarily icons, are K-pop fans. So in this video, I want to explore how the unrealistic standards of K-pop culture are starting to affect KATSEYE. I will never forget when someone supposedly leaked a photo of Manon hanging out with some friends pre-debut and posted it on Twitter with the intentions of canceling her because it appeared that she was smoking a cigarette. Thankfully, no one took this seriously, and people were quick to point out that no regular person with a life cares if Manon smoked cigarettes, now or during her pre-debut days. But the fact that that person even posted the photo with the intention of canceling her is very interesting to me. I also want to point out that the account that initially made this tweet is a K-pop leak account, where basically they try to cancel K-pop idols. It's a known fact that in K-pop, idols are expected to maintain a clean, unattainable image. Let's take Seunghan from Rise, for example. A little after Rise had just debuted, some stuff had come out, allegedly showing him indulging in normal activities that young adults do. Here is how things went, according to Billboard. SM announced that Seunghan would halt activities with Rise following an August 2023 leak of private pre-debut photos and videos that showed him kissing an unidentified woman in a bed and smoking a cigarette. Though tame by Western standards, the content went viral in South Korea. Some fans condemned Seunghan's actions, which they deemed inappropriate for a K-pop idol, and protested for his removal even before the highly anticipated boy band's debut. And now, he is no longer in the group. That is how serious it is in the K-pop industry. He even apologized on Rise's Instagram before he was eventually removed, but that wasn't enough to appease the angry fans. While SM did note the content leaks were maliciously edited, calling it severe defamation, the label still settled on the indefinite suspension of Seunghan's activities. According to its statement at the time, Seunghan also relayed his intention to halt activities. The label judged that it is too difficult for him to continue activities through the situation. On the same day, through Rise's Weverse account, Seunghan shared in a handwritten letter that he was deeply reflecting on his careless actions from the past and apologized to the group's fans, Re-Ease members, and label staff. The situation even got so bad that people who wanted him out of the group put funeral wreaths in front of SM Entertainment headquarters as a way to protest. Yeah, this situation was insane. And to think he was only 19 when all of this went down. But I said all of that to make my point that in K-pop, normal things that the majority of young adults and teenagers do can get you put on an indefinite hiatus or even removed from the group entirely. Or you will be forced to make an apology. And now there are K-pop fans who are pushing these same standards onto the members of KATSEYE. I think this happens because within K-pop culture, it has become normalized to publicly police and punish idols for completely ordinary behavior, whether that's dating, smoking, or simply living like a normal young adult. Over time, those expectations start to feel standard to K-pop fans, even when they shouldn't be. As a result, some K-pop fans have begun projecting those same rules onto KATSEYE, despite the fact that they are not K-pop idols, and are seen more so as Western celebrities. It is already troubling that K-pop idols are subjected to these extreme standards from the moment they debut. Attempting to impose them onto KATSEYE only extends that harm further. The core issue with these standards is that they punish people for being human. As mentioned earlier, Seunghan faced severe consequences over pre-debut behavior that occurred when he was even younger, a response that highlights just how disproportionate these expectations have become. At some point, a clear boundary has to be drawn. No artist, whether a K-pop idol, a global pop act like KATSEYE, or anyone else, should be expected to maintain a clean, unattainable image flawlessly and indefinitely. Enforcing such standards is not only unrealistic, but especially unjustifiable when applied to artists who are not even part of the K-pop industry. But moving on, here's the main thing I wanted to talk about in this video, and the topic that inspired me to make this video in the first place. I've noticed a growing pattern of K-pop fans increasingly attempting to drag KATSEYE's live vocals. I also want to preface this by saying that this does not apply to every K-pop fan. I am a K-pop fan myself, and I know that sane and logical K-pop stans do exist. This only applies to the fans it needs to apply to. To be clear, there is nothing wrong with critiquing this group. KATSEYE is not exempt from fair or constructive criticism. However, what I've been seeing more frequently are videos that isolate brief moments from live performances, where a member may sound slightly out of breath or vocally unstable, and then present those clips as evidence that the member can't sing entirely. The issue is that in the overwhelming majority of these clips, the vocals are not actually bad. What's being interpreted as poor singing is simply live performance in a nutshell. KATSEYE often performs with minimal backing track. Their voices naturally sound different from the polished studio recordings, which is completely normal. Expecting any artist, especially a relatively new group, that sings while dancing 99% of the time to sound flawless at all times is unrealistic. That's not to say KATSEYE has never had weaker live moments. They have, but they are young artists who are still early in their careers. Given the way some people speak about them and the expectations placed upon them, you would assume they're veterans. In my opinion, this level of scrutiny directly ties back to the unrealistic standards embedded in K-pop culture. Within K-pop, lip-syncing has become widely normalized, not only at award shows but at concerts as well. I remember watching a concert fan cam from a group I just started stanning, and I realized that their microphones were barely audible, if on at all, while the backing track carried the performance entirely. It was basically a glorified dance performance. Yet this is rarely questioned. A K-pop group can lip-sync an entire concert without significant backlash, but KATSEYE misses a single note and is suddenly labeled as incapable of singing, even though they have proved since their Dream Academy days that are exemplary singers. This disconnect suggests that some K-pop fans have become desensitized to live vocals altogether when they encounter a K-pop adjacent group like KATSEYE that prioritizes live singing, even when it means occasional imperfections or natural deviations from the studio version. They interpret those natural differences as failures. In reality, this pressure is precisely why so many K-pop acts rely heavily on lip-syncing, because any deviation from the studio version is met with disproportionate backlash. Live performances are not meant to be exact copies of studio recordings. Note changes, altered phrasing, or briefly skipping parts of a song are all acceptable and, in many cases, signs of musicality. What matters is the performance as a whole. Hyperfixating on isolated moments ignores the reality that no performer is 100% perfect. It's also important to remember that KATSEYE are not veterans. They're still finding their footing, and the Beautiful Chaos Tour is their first tour ever. For every so-called bad vocal moment that circulates online, there are countless clips of them sounding confident, controlled, and genuinely impressive, even while singing live and making musical adjustments. Ultimately, these extreme standards should not be imposed on KATSEYE or on any artist. I would rather see performers take risks, sing live, and sound human than constantly hide behind heavy backing tracks in pursuit of perfection. This stems from unrealistic expectations embedded in K-pop culture, where even minor imperfections are treated as failure. When a K-pop adjacent group like KATSEYE chooses authenticity over perfection, those same expectations are projected onto them, turning normal live vocals into unwarranted hate. It always pains me whenever I see someone say that KATSEYE cannot sing. Like, are we talking about the same group? I do believe that this is hybe x Gefen's fault for rarely allowing them to showcase just how good they are vocally in their songs. But if you are one of those people that genuinely believe that KATSEYE are bad singers, I suggest you go listen to any of their covers, especially the acoustic covers they've uploaded to their TikToks. And please especially check out Lara. She's the main reason why I have been interested in this group since the Dream Academy days. Her vocals are just heavenly. All in all, I hope I made my point clear. Do I think K-pop idols should have these strict, unrealistic standards forced upon them? No. If you've watched my channel for some time now, then you will know just how much of a fan I am of authenticity and artists being free to be themselves. I can only hope that one day we can see the industry accept the fact that K-pop idols are just human, like you and me. But again, since K-pop fans are so used to these unrealistic standards that are in K-pop, they are now projecting them onto KATSEYE, and that should not be the case. Comment your thoughts below so we can get a discussion going, and I'll see you in the next one.